All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Darius Anucauskas, and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. And today is Tuesday, the 27th of May, 2025 still. So yes, welcome everybody. Look, I wanted to pick up on the RBNZ interest rate decision. And that's coming out tomorrow. So look, before we jump into all that action, let me quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So of course, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'm not going to disappear anywhere. I'm just going to stick around here. But look, yes. Also, before we jump into the charts, just a quick mentioning of our Markets.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. So, now then, look, tomorrow we get the interest rate decision from the RBNZ. So this is kind of the last major central bank delivering its interest rate decision this month. So kind of RBNZ is wrapping up the month. But yeah, we're going to be very carefully monitoring that one. We'll be monitoring the possible reaction, or just in general reaction in the NZD. So look, first of all, the expectation is for a rate to go down by 25 basis points, and in a way the market is kind of expecting the rates to continue to slide. So we have been seeing this moving to the downside since April here, when we were around 5.5. Look, let me just jump into their official website here. So I'm looking at the inflation here. Look, I mean, and so far inflation has been on a decline, and since as you can see here, since when it peaked in December, not December, June, around June time, 2022. It has been on decline. So in a way, I think that there are some issues with the growth in the economy, and I think that this is where the bank is this is what the bank is worried about. So you can see that the GDP, where's NZD here? There we go. That's NZD here. It has been on a decline in comparison to other major economies like Australia, USA, Japan, UK. Their GDP has been a little bit on the downside, and it seems like it's still above zero. Well, at least the latest reading showed that it was above zero, but the previous two before that were in minus at minus 1.1%. So, and again, it came out two quarters in a row. So yes, the the New Zealand bank. The RBNZ is trying to do what it can do best in order to support the economy, and the only thing that they can do is, of course, to cut rates. Now, it seems like the market does not expect this to be the last cut this year. There is an expectation that there could be, the rate will probably fall below 3%. So yes, we'll see how that works out, of course. But in general, let me just launch a chart here. In general, this is the general trajectory that has been happening. So since September of 2021, you can see the rate has been accelerating quite rapidly all the way to 5.5%, and from here we started correcting back to the downside. So where's that inflation chart here? So let me just zoom in here a little bit. What was happening in these years? So yes, inflation, as you can see here, has been rapidly growing all the way up until 2022, and this is where the interest rate has been adjusted accordingly in order to battle inflation, and in a way it kind of worked out nicely. So now, given that inflation has been on the decline, however, as we can see, it ticked a little bit, but that's still fine. We are not seeing something like this. We need a few month inflation readings to kind of understand that inflation started picking up again. So I think that if it starts getting to around like maybe 4% or something like that, then yes, then we could see the interest rates may be holding off, the bank holding off from cutting further rates. Now, as we know that the central bank has its inflation target set between 1 and 3%. And basically everybody's always targeting around that 2% target, right? So we are so far within the target, on slightly on the higher side within the target. Of course, that's still fine. Despite this, the bank is still comfortable in going for another extra cut. And like I said, it seems like the market is kind of pricing in the idea that the rates could drop to to 3 or even below that a little bit, so maybe 2.75 or something like that. In general, 2.5 I think that could be quite a reasonable target in general. But again, it all depends. For now, let's go slowly. I think that that's the best approach that can be taken. And the way this could play out in the forex world for the New Zealand dollar, well, in general, of course, lowering interest rates is not very good for the currency. However, in this case, for example, and specifically against the US dollar, I think that there could be some upside. I think that the fact that maybe the economy is still doing okay. There's no there's not much the economy is still okay. However, it's not maybe growing that great. However, it's still, yes, that's the word, okay. And also the weakening of the US dollar is also helping the New Zealand dollar to push a little bit further north. And looking at this one purely from the technical analysis perspective, then of course you can see that we're near a key area of resistance, which we keep on testing, the 0.602930 zone right here. So this is what we need basically in order to aim for some higher levels. Where's that highlighter? We need to see a clearance of this territory in order to go to the upside. So if we can get that breakout, wonderful. The next potential target, well, this is where I'm going to apply my beloved Fibonacci extension. And the next potential target for me here could be, let's have a look. Basically, the next one is going to be around the 0.6055-ish area. I know it's very close. However, let's keep it short and simple. But then after that, I'm aiming for the 0.61. 18, 20, something like that, around this area, around this 50% on the Fibonacci extension. So I'm not going to drag this one way too much higher. Okay, I maybe it would be quite interesting to see if it could go here, but I think that the 50% here is actually justified here because we have a strong area of resistance somewhere around here. So that's why this territory becomes quite an interesting target. Now, in terms of other New Zealand dollar pairs like NZDJPY, now the problem here is that this one is mainly kind of dictated by the by what's happening with the yen, because at the moment the markets are on a shaky ground a little bit, I would say. However, it seems like there's some optimism back in the equity world, and people are jumping off the yen, and this is where it could be helpful maybe for this pair, for the NZDJPY bulls. So NZD, like I said, despite the interest rate cut, I think that NZD could be enjoying the moment for now, just because, like I said, the way everything is shaping up in the market. So don't be kind of surprised if, let's say, NZD does push a little bit higher. But again, I don't know. Like I said, this is just pure speculation. This is an analysis. So let's see how this is going to play out. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball. We have to wait for the for the data to come out. And this is what I keep on saying, that I'll never do anything before the big data announcement, big announcement, because again, it can really backfire very quickly. Because at the moment, at least from my side, the analysis looks like this. This is how I'm approaching it, and let's see if it's going to work out. So again, it's I'm not saying that this is for sure what's going to happen. No, but at the moment, all the cards seem to kind of point, lay in that favor. So for now, looking at this, for example, the NZDJPY, then yes, we are kind of on the bear side a little bit. However, the fact that we started creating higher lows, maybe this could play out nicely here for the pair and for the bulls here, and we could see a push higher. In general, I think I'm taking a very conservative approach here on NZDJPY. It's just basically just waiting for a push above the 200-day EMA, and that's kind of it. NZD CAD, for example, also nice, beautiful bullish flag here. Somewhat of actually more of a maybe a pennant forming here. So there we go. Just let me show you what I'm talking about. So yes, something to keep in mind. We have a nice pole here. We have a nice little consolidation here. We're having a nice little symmetrical triangle pattern. Even if you don't want to look at this from the bullish flag perspective, you can look at it from the symmetrical triangle perspective, and basically we know that the prevailing trend was to the upside. So for this one to a greater chance to break out is to the upside. However, I've seen this happening in the opposite direction, so that's why I keep on saying to everybody, wait until we get that clearance, and then you can do something about it. Very quickly on Euro NZD, I actually just wanted to check what's happening here. So in general, the Euro seems to be on the stronger side so far, and against a Euro Aussie, it's trying to recover. Euro NZD, now, I mean, after a good run, it seems like we're now after a good run towards that 2 territory. It now drifted back down. It's now oscillating around the 50-day EMA here, shown as the green line. So in a way, there is a chance for this one to actually drift back down, but I think that we need to take a little bit of a careful approach here and wait for a drop below the 1.88 zone somewhere around here. At the same time, we could drop below the 100-day EMA, and this way kind of opening the door towards that 200 zone. So that's what I'm going to do for now. I'm not going to really, let's say, try to guess it way too much either to the upside or to the downside. For me, the upside scenario, if it breaks above the 1.9155 territory right here, I will go a little bit higher, but my only problem with the upside here is that, look, if I apply my Fibonacci retracement on this part, then you'll see that there is kind of limited upside, maybe up until 50% here. We're near the 1.94 zone, some ish, and then maybe we'll go back down. So something like that. So if you're kind of considering a move to the upside here, then just be a little bit more careful and keep an eye on the current, or should I say, the highest point of last week. And GBP NZD as well, similar kind of story-ish. The pound is looking a little bit better here, but overall, the pair has been on a nice uptrend, as you can see here, after we reversed sharply here to the upside in the at the end of September of 2022, we have been moving nicely. However, now the question is, are we actually starting to make a little bit of a U-turn here, or like a V-turn? Because look, we rallied strongly here. We rallied very sharply to the upside, failed then to move again, overcome this 2.33 zone, and we started reversing back down. So now, like I said, if we are expecting a little bit of strength maybe in NZD, then maybe, just maybe, GBP NZD here could drift back down a little. So look, I would say just keep an eye on this. Of course, for me, the downside scenario here is on a drop below the this 2.22 zone-ish right here. However, I would say I will start looking at some lower levels if we do start falling below the 50-day EMA here, shown as the green line, and then we'll go from there. So Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this useful. Like I said, I just wanted to quickly share with you a little piece here on RBNZ on its interest rate decision tomorrow. So yeah, I hope you found this useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. As always, stay safe, have your stop losses in place, risk only what you can afford to lose, don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. Don't forget to like and follow and subscribe. So yes, thank you very much. Well, follow and subscribe is actually the same thing, but anyway, just throwing it out there. Stay tuned, yeah, for more of these little video updates from me, Darius Anucauskas, in our top news section. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye-bye.